Hey crafty cuties, back at you with another junk journal with me episode. This is my current quarantine junk journal. Oh man, a few people had some really cute names for what I should call this journal, and I really liked the one which was Home with the Huffmans. I think that's what it was called. Anyways, I'm really wanting to use some of these printables that I got from Little Bindy Etsy shop that I'll have listed below, because I do end up using 2 of them, or maybe 3 actually, and they're just so cute, and like I just wanted to use a couple. So trying to figure out, most of them are like flips, or they have the option to kind of flip in your journal pages. Of course you can use them however you wish, but I wanted to get started with the door, and I wanted to cover the back with like some coffee dyed paper or fabric. Trying to decide here. And I'm having to film a voiceover just because I filmed this while my son and husband were being loud, so forgive that. I prefer doing, in the moment voice, but this is just what we gotta work with. So I'm going to go ahead and glue some coffee dyed paper on the back of this door. Now, this printable does come with a journaling backing for each of these printables, but to be honest, I didn't remember where I put mine, and it might have been in that pile, but in the moment, I was just wanting to use just some coffee dyed paper. So I knew that for this layout, I had some journaling and a photo or 2 photos that I wanted to use. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this out so that it will be the same size as the door. And I'm really, really excited to get this journal complete. I think it's going to take me a little longer because I'm starting like 2 months late. And so I'm going like back 2 months, and I kind of want to try to go in order, because I feel like for this journal specifically, that is really important for me to kind of tell the story that I want to tell. And so, yeah. Anyways, so I'm just now I'm going to fold over. There's a flap that comes on this printable. And I feel like these printables are really easy to work with, and yeah. So there's also this little mail slot on the door. Now, I go ahead and cut it out because I had an idea to make it like a little, I guess, not tuck spot, but a little place to have like a piece of mail coming out of it. But I'm lazy and I just use my scissors, and I really should have used like an X-Acto knife, something like that. But it's fine because it ends up working out and looking just fine in the end. And honestly, that's just the way that I craft, is lazy. So now that I have that cut out, I knew that I needed to cover the back of the door also with like almost a little pocket, so that whatever I put in that slot wouldn't fall all the way down. So I'm just using some scrapbook paper with these little daisies, and I'm just kind of like roughly measuring what size I need it. Now, I could have covered the entire back of the door, but you're going to see a reason I wanted to have like some journaling space. And I just realized actually what I'm cutting out here is the tag. See, that's the problem with doing voiceovers, is that I don't really remember what I'm doing in the moment. So I'm going to cut out like a teeny little mini tag that will fit in the spot where the mail slot is. And I love how this little layout ended up. So I feel like it ended up a lot more simple than my layouts do, but I'm really excited for some of the future layouts that I kind of have in mind. And that's how I work with junk journals. I get like these ideas and kind of like a visualization for how I want my journal to go. But you guys also know that I'm really flexible, and I'm totally fine with things not working out how I first had them planned. But I think it definitely helps me with inspiration to have like ideas, because it gets me excited to continue on in my journals. And I know that it can be really hard, and especially right now, I have been getting a lot of messages from you guys, people saying that you're having a hard time getting in the moment with crafting, you're having a hard time having any motivation to do like extra things like crafting. And I get it because I was totally there in the beginning of all of this, but I've just kind of moved along and really just pushed myself. And I think that's what it takes, is that you just have to push yourself. However, I don't think it hurts to take the time that you need to just do nothing, because it's okay. And it is extra work, but if you feel something from being creative and you get something out of it, then I think it's worth it to kind of push yourself at some point. Okay, enough with that. So I'm going to do a little bit of journaling on that little tag, but for now you can see that I'm going to go ahead and cover this back area, and I just left a little space so that my tag can like fit down a little bit, but we don't want it to go all the way down. All right, so what are we doing next? Oh yeah, so I'm going to do a little bit of journaling right here. And if you want to see what I journaled, you can go ahead and pause the screen. It's not really private. But here we have the little tag that peeks out. I think it's so cute. I'm just making sure that it fits really well. And I'm also putting like a little bit of journaling on the tag, which is the reason I wanted to have that there. I have so many like memories and things that I have wanted to say in this journal, so I want lots of space for journaling. So the door, I didn't cut it out perfectly, so we need to go ahead and use some ink for the edges, but also I feel like it kind of adds, you know, a lot to the finished look when you're using inks, because it makes it look like more homemade and more, I don't know, I just like the look of it. Okay, so once we're done with that, we're going to move along, and I'm using double-sided tape to put the door flap on, because I'm actually taping it onto a glassine bag. Now, for this journal, like I said, I'm going in chronological order, and I don't always do that, but I'm basically just going to work with what I have for each layout. So, since we have a glassine bag, I wanted to use double-sided tape because it's just quicker, and I know it's going to work well. So, the inside flap is just white, and I could have printed that out differently, or I could have inked it up, but instead I'm just going to use some washi tape. It has some really like vibrant florals, and I just go ahead and cover it up with that. This is the picture that I have that I want to include. It's a picture of Arlo like basically destroying our bathroom with toilet paper, and that happened soon after quarantine first happened, and I'm sure that everywhere was running really low on toilet paper. It wasn't just here in Portland. And so we were fine on toilet paper, but to see her destroy like a full roll of toilet paper, and like she only had a few minutes. So I went in there and I was just like, you're kidding me. And it was just so funny, the look she gave me. So I had to like take a picture, and it was just funny that it happened like at the time that it happened, because she's never tried to get into the toilet paper except for when there was no toilet paper available. And that's just her. Okay, I have this little cupcake liner embellishment. I made these in just like a video back or two, and I wanted to add it to the top of the glassine bag, so I just kind of put it over the top part of the bag, and I'm going to staple it on. This one, also in the glassine bag, I had some journaling cards, and I knew I wanted to use these somewhere in the journal, but they didn't really fit here. So I'm just kind of looking to see what I have. Now, I wanted to use one more of the printables, which was this little tree. And so I decided to kind of like collage it onto a layaway tag. And I love how this looks. I have so many layaway tags, and I use them a lot in my journals, but I don't know. I haven't used them like this in a while, and I like, you know, where I collage. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down to the tag. And I kind of folded over the edges just so I knew where to cut that off, or trim it off, I guess. And I could have done so much more for this tag, but I felt like the layout had a lot going on, and I was just kind of enjoying an easy crafting moment. I'm going to add a little bit more of that washi. I didn't really like the words up at the top where it said layaway, so I'm going to cover that with some of the washi that I used to cover up that flap. There we go. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and trim off those excess pieces. And then this layaway tag, I had more journaling to do, so I went ahead and just journaled on the back of the layaway tag. I did that off camera, of course. So I also wanted to add some really pretty ribbon, and I just went ahead and grabbed some of my newer Sari silk ribbon, and I'm just going to pull that through. I really like how this one looks when it's like peeking through, and this was also the same ribbon that I used on that teeny little mini tag that I used for the door mail slot. So now when I put that in the glassine bag, the ribbon kind of peeks up, and I feel like, like, oh, there's something more going on with this page. And then since it is a glassine bag, you can also see the image through. So I wanted to use this little house as well. I felt like it really went with the whole theme here, the whole page layout. So I went ahead and also covered it in some coffee dyed paper, and then I did my journaling off camera. And again, I'm going to use some double-sided tape just to go ahead and put that down on the page that's to the left. And that is actually going to flip down. And then underneath that is like a little tuck spot for a journaling card. And I went ahead and did some journaling on that as well, which I'll show at the end. So I'm just kind of testing things out. So now I went ahead and did my journaling on the back of the layaway tag, and now I just wanted to add a little bit more ink to the edges. I just felt like I needed something for it to all tie together. And you'll notice that I put some fabric and washi tape down at the bottom. I did that when I realized I wasn't filming. But here is the final little page. You have your flip down. I have the journaling card with some journaling and another little photo of my kids on the trampoline. We have this teeny little tag with this journaling, and then you flip that open to get your photos. And if you notice, I flipped I added another photo. So when you flip the glassine bag, you'll see that little tree house, but then you can also pull that out and find your journaling. So that is everything for this little layout. I really enjoyed this journaling time, and I hope that you guys got some inspiration from it, and I will see you later. Bye.